basketball showdown between the visiting St. Ignatius Wildcats and the Sacred Heart Prep Gators. Should be a fun one tonight. Should be a pretty high-scoring, high-flying game. Wildcats entering this one showing off a new scheme under first-year head coach Jason Greenfield. They entered tonight with a record of 1-1, having beaten Half Moon Bay but lost to Redwood in their most recent outing. They will be down a few players tonight. Rory Keneally has been dealing with some lingering injuries. Called tonight a load management issue for him. They're also down sophomore center John Squire. He got his second vaccine shot yesterday and is dealing with the side effects today. And they're down Dylan Gold. He's out with food poisoning. Gold will be continuing on to play next year at Occidental College. So I'll leave them without a bit of their senior leadership. They only have 3 seniors listed on the roster. Make that 4. But they are missing some of their senior leadership. They will be able, however, to turn to their solid center, Ethan Jew, as well as other returning starter, GC Toledo Rivera and Ryan Conroy. Toledo Rivera really impressed as a sophomore, showing off the three-point shooting ability for a team that eventually won the CCS Division III championship. Now for the Gators, it's been a pretty positive story through the first 3 games, all league contests, all pretty comfortable wins over Crystal Springs Uplands, Kings Academy, and Pinewood. They've got a lethal 2-man wrecking crew of point guard Aiden Bracha and forward Harrison Carrington. Carrington, always a solid player in his past years, but this year skyrocketed from 6'2" to 6'6", hit a bit of a late growth spurt, and all of a sudden, that turns him from a player that you're looking at as maybe walk on at the Division I level, be a solid contributor at a D2 or D3 school, to all of a sudden high-level D1 player. Just unfortunate that with this season happening so late in the recruiting cycle, trying to get him on the coach's radars. So it may be prudent for him to take a year at a prep school, whether that be one on the East Coast or something a little closer to home. Either way, he's become a major weapon for this team instead of just one of many. Gators heading over to join head coach Tony Martinelli for a quick little breakdown before we get underway. Just a couple minutes to tip off, and things are a little different this year with halftime and such taking place out on the court instead of in the locker room. As a result, teams have kind of had to adapt, change their routines accordingly. But that does allow for a quick breakdown like this, rather than try to talk to them and then have 15 minutes of shooting and warm-ups and then finally bring the kids back out and have them try to contextualize all those things, remember them after warm-ups. St. Ignatius, as we mentioned, under first-year head coach Jason Greenfield. His 3rd game at the helm of the program, he is assisted by longtime assistant Jamal Baugh and a recent addition to the coaching staff, Johnny Merlick. Merlick, a 2011 SI graduate who went on to play at Vassar College, was on some pretty solid teams there. Back then, he was under head coach John DeBenedetti. The Wildcats have gone through a chain of coaching changes since then. Tim Reardon took over for a couple years, then Rob Marcoletti in an interim role. Marcoletti then became the full-time head coach, and now Greenfield leading the program. And though he is new to the Wildcats program, he is not new to the basketball scene at all. He's worked at university with head coach Randy Besselo. He's been on the staff at USF under Todd Golden and Kyle Smith, and now here he is leading the Wildcats, and they will get going in just a moment here. It looks like their starting lineup tonight is going to be GC Toledo Rivera and Sean Quantico at guard, along with Ryan Conroy and Alex Reich, and then Ethan Jew, the man in the middle. Starting 5 for the Gators, it'll be Aiden Bracha at point guard, power forward Sachit Sinha, center RJ Stevens, forward Harrison Carrington, and guard Teddy Purcell. You probably recognize him from the SHP football team, rounding out the starting 5. No need to wait any further. We're going to just get this thing started. No lengthy, elaborate pregame introductions or anything of the sort. We're ready for some good Tuesday night basketball between a couple of solid programs. They met last year with the Gators, eking out a close win. Carrington going to jump for the opening tip against Jew, and we are underway. Wildcats control the opening tip. Ryan Conroy will bring it forward. Conroy with Ethan Jew handling it out high, looking for a high screen. Jew ends up keeping it, defended by Stevens, the sophomore. Good experience for Stevens to face a big body like that. Jew handles it again, gives it to Quantico. Quantico over to Reich on the wing. Conroy defended by Purcell, then Sinha switches to him as Conroy dishes it out. Wright gives it back to Jew. Jew trying to drive to the lane. One-handed shot can't go, but he gets the rebound as the Gators couldn't secure it. Now Quantico, the Reardon transfer, into the lane, around his man, and he scores the first bucket of the game. A couple of transfers going back and forth between SI and Reardon. Point guard King Jasani Wilhite left the Wildcats program, joined the Crusaders. Got to see him play last night in a close one against Tamalpais. Bracha handles it here. Bracha around the three-point line, gives it to Stevens down low. Stevens giving up a few inches, but unafraid, goes to the rack, no good. Ethan Jew with another quick rebound. Wildcats try to get it going in transition, but cannot. Gators get it back, gonna take it up. Here's Bracha. Bracha tries to pull up and ends up drawing a foul, and if they call this in the act of shooting, that would be 3 free throws, it looks like. And they're just gonna give it on the floor. Foul will be to Sean Quantico. It'll be his first foul for either team tonight. Purcell to inbound, getting more minutes as he made the transition over from football. Takes a little time to acclimate. Bracha trying to fade away. Kick out shot, no good. Already a third rebound for Ethan Jew. Wildcats in transition. Toledo Rivera 3 from the wing. Won't go. Offensive rebound right. Toledo Rivera gets the pass. Can't finish. Tipped around for a while like a little volleyball match going on, and eventually Carrington gets it, but has it swiped away by the ever-aggressive Quantico. He goes to the rack and scores. 4-0 SI. All 4 points so far for Quantico, who, despite his 5'10 frame, plays a lot bigger than that, can really get up there, can jump out of the gym. Bracha to Carrington, and we've got a whistle. It's going to be a moving screen called on Cena. So both teams with a couple of turnovers early on. Conroy will bring it back up for the Wildcats. Once again, they set up Ethan Jew out high. They're going to be shooting a lot more three-pointers than they did in past years. And here's one from Reich. He hits, and it's 7-0. Alex Reich, whose older brother Troy Reich, playing on the Filipino national team at times, and also played at Wake Forest as a walk-on, really developed after his high school career. Bracha into the lane, draws the foul on Conroy. First foul on Conroy, who was limited some by injuries last year, but was part of a sophomore-heavy varsity roster for the Wildcats. That sends Bracha to the line, and he knocks down his first. 29 points last time out for Bracha, 30 the time before that against Kings Academy. It was really the Bracha and Carrington show that night. Both free throws are good. Gators are going to get a quick sub here. That'll be Jake York coming in to replace Cena. York, another one who was an impact player on the football field. Conroy leads it back up for SI. Conroy with Ethan Jew. Jew handling it out high again. Kind of getting to work as a point forward in this new scheme. Quantico to Toledo Rivera. Toledo Rivera 3 off the mark. York grabs the rebound. Stretch pass Teddy Purcell into the lane. Tries to finish around his man, can't. Loose ball. Stevens ends up with the offensive board. Bracha tries to take it into the corner, gets it stripped in the double team by Conroy with help from Quantico. Conroy tries to get it free. Wildcats thought he was fouled, no call, and the Gators end up coming out of that with the ball. Carrington into the lane, goes up strong on his man, good off the glass. So the Gators have overcome the early 7-0 hole, cut it to 7-4, finding their land legs. Conroy with Ethan Jew again. Give to Quantico. Again, this is a team that's going to like to shoot threes, but they are not afraid to go to the rack, and Quantico with a nice finger roll. Wildcats by 5 early on. Remember in last year's meeting, I was actually down at the state football championships, but was following the online feed closely on my laptop from the press box. Shows you where my priorities were. This is an awfully good matchup. Bracha putting a little shift on and knocks down the 3. Great ball handling to set up the shot. Get free from a stingy defender in Quantico. So Gators trail by just 2 halfway through the first quarter. Conroy handles it out near the volleyball lines. Jew once again at the top of the arc. Curious to see how the Gators adapt as SI continues to go to this move. And he ends up getting inside to Toledo Rivera, who lays it in. 11-7. Both offenses clicking early. When I saw the Wildcats play their season opener against Half Moon Bay, it was none of the sort. Very slow developing start to the game, but tonight both teams starting to get more into gear. We've got a whistle, looks like a foul away from the ball. Will Mackey set to sub in for the Gators, and it will be Quantico's second. Sure enough, was away from the ball. So they will quickly sit Quantico here. Bring in Felix Tomaneng Kim. Gators make a couple additional changes as well. Taking out Purcell in favor of Ryan Wong, who I gotta say looks a lot bigger when he puts on the football pads. Deep three from Bracha, no good. Rebound Ju. That's 4 boards in the early going for Ethan Ju. Conroy handling along the wing. Ju on the inside, tries to beat Mackey to the rack, draws contact, no basket, but he gets the foul and will go to the line for 2. Ethan Ju, in his 3rd year as a varsity player for the Wildcats, spent the last 2 under Rob Marcoletti. Kind of flitted in and out of the starting lineup at times in those last couple years, but should be a regular fixture all year this year. One of the only real bigs on the roster, along with John Squire, who we mentioned is out tonight. First shot up and good, second one coming. Back iron and it rolls in, gets a friendly roll despite not being on the home rims, 13-7 SI. Bracha takes it up with Tomaneng on him. Martinelli calling out something he sees. He's got an open man. It's going to be Carrington, 3, good. Carrington from York, and it's a 3-point ball game. The Gators have yet to lead, but have cut back into this thing, trailing by as much as 7. They now trail 13-10, just under 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Ryan Conroy defended by York. York trying to make himself bigger, almost like he's trying to fight off a bear the way he jumped up there. Toledo Rivera into the lane. Nice little jump stop move. Can't get it to go. Loose ball. Rebound. Mackey had it for a moment. Lost it. And then we've got a whistle. And it looks like timeout here for the Gators. It's going to be the first timeout called by Sacred Heart Prep. And this one should be a quick 30-second timeout as both teams, rather than head to the bench as they would for a full timeout, stay on their feet. Timeout management is something that really comes into focus in high school basketball, as you'll learn at the end of any tight game. It happened last night in the game between Reardon and Tamalpais, where the visitors, the Hawks, were low on timeouts. Not having the clock automatically stop in the final minute like you have in college and professional basketball means if you're playing from behind, you have to have timeouts available when you're playing the foul game. Otherwise, teams can just run off at least 5 seconds, if not more, at the end of games after the trailing team makes a basket. Seen multiple games come to an end with the leading team just waiting, holding the ball out of bounds instead of inbounding. Remember a few years ago it happened in one between Reardon and Sarah back in early 2014. Bracha bringing it up the court to start things off for the Gators. Last year in the CCS Open Division Championship between Midi and Bellarmine. Bellarmine really suffered from a ball skittering away. Going to have a foul called here on Felix Tomaneng, so fouls 4-2 against the Wildcats early on. Gators more than halfway to the bonus now. They'll make another sub here. It's going to be Kevin Carney making his first appearance of the night. Kevin and his brother Ryan both on the roster, both juniors. Older brother Brendan turned into a great player at the end of his career and became a walk-on at Marquette. Bracha with tight defense from Tomaneng, gets it off. Carrington into the lane, has the height advantage, can't get the shot, but gets the putback. That's those extra 4 inches Harrison Carrington grew coming into play. At 6'2", that's a much tougher play to make. Ju was putting on a little spin move, dishes it off. Open man in the corner, Tomaneng, 3, good. Felix Tomaneng checks into the score sheet. Off the Ethan Ju assist, and it's 16-12 SI. Wildcats have led the entire way so far. Carrington to Carney to Bracha. Quick little action along the free throw line. Bracha lost it for a moment, got it back, gets it inside. Wong shot no good. Mackey offensive rebound, tries the reverse layup, can't do it, but ends up recovering his own miss. Gators will be able to reset. Rather than take too much time, they press on quickly. Mackey now takes it back from Carney. Mackey defended by Ethan Ju. Giving up a few inches and some pounds, but able to hang in there. Gets it off to Wong. Wong near the free throw line. Back out. Bracha still 15 on the shot clock, no need to panic. Adrian Delana defending him. Then Delana switches with Conroy. Conroy trying to stop Bracha. Conroy gets called for his second foul. So that's 2 already on both Conroy and Quantico, 2 SI starters. Gators bring Sachin Sina back in here and also give Matt Bucher his first appearance of the night. Carrington and Wong will take a seat. Early in the season like this, even in an abbreviated season, you'll see teams try to kind of dish out playing time more. Bracha from the corner, no good. Ju the rebound. Early in the season, teams try to establish their rotations. Long stretch pass goes to Toledo Rivera, and he puts it home. 18-12 SI. Give Toledo Rivera 4 so far. Wildcats have really distributed the scoring well so far. Quantico with 6 to lead the way. Sina on the wing, defended by Toledo Rivera. A little spin move. Pump fake. Shot no good. Rebound Ethan Ju again. That is 6 rebounds for the SI big man in the first quarter. Delina back the other way, and he puts it home in transition. 20-12 SI. And that's a big start for a Wildcats team that scored just 59 in their first game and 52 in their second. Time running down in the first quarter. Bracha holding as the Gators go for the last possession of the period. Defended by Tomanang out high. Tomanang with some bright sort of salmon-colored shoes. Bracha lost it for a moment, gets it back through the lane. One-hand shot, no good. Rebound loose, and that'll bring the first quarter to a close as the buzzer sounds. SI 20, SHP 12. Have about a minute before the second quarter begins. Chance to get settled here, get some notes under control. Early on, the Gators seem to have been at their most vulnerable defensively, including in that game against Kings Academy last Thursday. They led that one 41-33 at the half, gave up the first 9 points of the third quarter, and then really kicked it into gear, drove the hammer home from there, ended up winning that one 78-55, but was not as easy as the final score indicated. Kings Academy just getting started in WBAL play, welcoming back a couple of key cogs from football at the time. Kyle Cadigal will make his first appearance for the Gators to start the second quarter. Wildcats go a little deeper into their bench as well with Quinn Broderick and Carson Mills, a couple of the seniors on the roster, both getting their first appearances. Cadigal, the backup point guard, giving Bracha a quick breather. He'll handle it out high. Inside, Purcell to Stevens. Nice finish. First points of the night for the sophomore center, R.J. Stevens. Conroy starting off again for the Wildcats along with Tomanang. A very small lineup with Ethan Ju out for the moment. Carson Mills, sort of the biggest man on the floor, but he's just 5'11", though next to Cadigal. That does make him look a little bigger. They're basically playing 5 out here. 3 from the corner by Mills, no good. Delana had it for the moment, lost it. Gators end up with the rebound, out of bounds. 7:08 left in the second quarter, 6-point game. Cadigal brings it up slowly. He does look bigger than the 5'3" he's listed at, but I did check with head coach Tony Martinelli, and he said, yes, indeed, that 5'3" listing is correct. Usually teams add a couple inches to players' heights on the roster. I think they're being pretty honest here. Nice change of pace. Other programs could take notes from that. Cadigal tries to get it back to Carrington, but lost it. Conroy ends up with the steal. Been a busy night for Conroy so far, even if he's yet to score. He's been all over the place in terms of ball handling, defense. A pass-first point guard. Tomanang lost it for a moment, got it back with Carrington on him. Tries to get through the lane, left-hand shot, no good, draws the foul. And the Wildcats will get back to the free throw line here. Believe that foul should be on Cadigal. Couldn't quite tell with the official signal there. Not having a PA announcer definitely doesn't help with those matters, but I'm going to give it our best guess. Tomaneng's first shot, no good. Second free throw does fall. 21-14 St. Ignatius. Once again, Carrington brings it up as Bracha still gets a couple more minutes to rest. Going to be from near the elbow. Nice shot there. Sachin Sina showing off some range, showing he's not just going to have to get dirty to score. Physical rebounder, but having him be able to expand his profile a little bit really adds a new dimension to the offense. Broderick on the exchange with Mills. Tries to get it back inside to Mills. Loses it. Sina with the steal. Carrington up the left side. Drives baseline. Goes to the rack hard. Wanted a dunk. Couldn't get it. Drew contact and the foul. And that'll be Tomaneng. That'll be his second. And that'll be the sixth foul against the Wildcats. So any remaining fouls against the Gators this quarter will turn into free throws, along with this one as it incurred in the act of shooting. So 2 shots as Carrington heads to the line. Both teams set to bring a few starters back in. Looks like Quantico, Toledo, Rivera, and Ju for SI. And for the Gators, it'll be Bracha replacing Cadigal, who, the way Cadigal was just used there, effectively shows that he is indeed the backup point guard. Roles starting to become a bit clearer as the Gators in their 4th game, Wildcats in their 3rd. Both free throws are good, 21-18, so 6-1 SHP to start this second quarter. Gators starting to settle in a bit more on the defensive end for sure. Tomaneng brings it through. Giving up some size to Carrington, gets it to Delina into the corner. Quinn Broderick has it back out high. Tomaneng again. Tomaneng met with resistance, but it was kicked out by Teddy Purcell, and that'll be a fresh shot clock. Get up to 35. You know, college basketball recently adopted rules where after a miss, the shot clock, instead of resetting to a full 30, goes to 20. High school has not done anything in that matter. In fact, most states don't even have a shot clock. Less than 20% of the states use one. Toledo Rivera, corner 3, no good. Offensive rebound, Broderick. Personally, I'm a big fan of having the shot clock. It's hard to watch the 4 corners nonsense. From the free throw line, that's Toledo Rivera off the Quantico assist, and SI gets a much-needed bucket to take a 23-18 lead. Sina handling it with Bracha on the wing. Sina really showing off some versatility tonight. He's more than just a power forward. He's really shown that so far, doing a whole lot of different things between ball handling, posting up. Carrington has it out high, lowers the shoulder, pulls up, long jumper, no good. Rebound, Quantico. John Quantico, just his 2nd game. He had to sit out the first one because of transfer rules. Long 3 by Toledo Rivera, no good. Bracha the rebound. Gators will not be able to get flying in transition as SI didn't send anyone in to pursue the rebound. From near the volleyball line, Bracha, no good. Another rebound for Ethan Ju. That's his 7th already. Delana through the lane. Acrobatic move, but can't get the shot to bounce in. Rebound controlled for a moment by Sina, then it goes out of bounds, and it will be Gators ball. Clock stops with exactly 4:20 left on the clock in the first half, and it's St. Ignatius 23, Sacred Heart Prep 18. Reich checking back in now for the Wildcats, replacing Delana. Both teams have pretty much established their available rotations to this point. As we mentioned in the open, the Wildcats missing Dylan Gold tonight, along with John Squire and Rory Keneally. Keneally is actually walking around the bench right now. Stevens trying a rare 3. That won't go, but he's able to crash the boards and get his own rebound as Ethan Ju was so far underneath. Tries to slip it to Purcell. Can't. Ball loose in the corner. Goes out of bounds off the Gators. So Keneally dealing with a lingering hamstring issue. Kind of have to pick and choose his spots, and tonight not one of those spots. Dylan Gold, the Occidental commit, food poisoning, and John Squire feeling the side effects of his 2nd vaccine shot, running a 102-degree fever. We hope he's watching from home. We hope he feels better soon, along with Dylan Gold. Steal by Bracha. Spin move to try to get around Toledo Rivera, who sticks with him. Bracha to the lane. Off the glass, no good. Rebound right, but then Quantico loses it. Nice recovery by Carrington. Tough to make that play on the ground, and the Gators end up with the bucket. I believe that was Bracha at the last moment there. I made the mistake of looking down to right into my stats. Couldn't quite see the ball go into the hoop. But judging by the reaction, I believe that was Bracha with the shot, and someone will correct me if I'm wrong. If you do, if I was wrong, don't hesitate to call me an idiot. We're going to have a quick whistle and a timeout here Wildcats take one as they've scored just 3 points in nearly 5 minutes in this quarter. 3:12 left in the second quarter. St. Ignatius 23, Sacred Heart Prep 20. And this one will be a full timeout, so we get a full minute here. That was Roger. All right, I just have confirmed it was indeed Bracha on that last basket. A couple other interesting games going on tonight we'll try to get you scores from, including the matchup between Reardon and Redwood, the same Redwood Giants who beat SI 53-52 on Saturday, a game where the Wildcats just could not get shots to fall. They shot 3 of 20 for threes, committed upwards of 20 turnovers. Do not have any update on the Reardon-Redwood game yet, as we scroll through Twitter here. Do have boys volleyball between St. Ignatius and Sacred Heart Cathedral going on. Big news from the St. Ignatius community today, as the baseball team held on 3-2 to win the Bruce Mahoney game and in turn take the trophy in the 3-sports series. They won in football 20-17. Won't even come down to the basketball game. Quick inbound from Quantico to Toledo Rivera. So the trophy sticking with the Wildcats. Around the wing, right to Quantico, 3 no good. SI's gone cold in the second quarter. Toledo Rivera offensive rebound. Right on the wing, top of the arc, Quantico, 3 good. Points coming off of offensive rebounds. The undersized but scrappy Wildcats able to get that one and turn it into a 3 for Quantico. They lead at 26-20. Bracha trying to spin around Quantico, one of the tightest defenders he's had to face so far this year. No good. Yet another Ethan Jew rebound. Quantico in transition. Corner, 3. Good. Quinn Broderick with his first points of the night, and it's 29-20 SI. Just under 2.5 minutes left in the first half now. Gators with Carrington bringing it up. During that last time out, they subbed back in Mackey and York. Let Stevens and Purcell take a seat. Bracha over to York. Tight D from Broderick. Inside, Toledo Rivera gets the ball away from Carrington for a moment, but ends up getting tagged with the foul. Fortunately for Toledo Rivera, that'll only be his first, but it is the team 7th, and that will put SHP in the bonus finally. Ryan Wong checking back in for Cena. 2:09 left on the clock in the first half. Going to be a 1-and-1 for Carrington. Fouls are 7-3 thus far, and the only players with 2 fouls all belong to the Wildcats, those being Conroy, Quantico, and Tomenang. That shot rattles around, no good. Can't afford to miss the front end of a 1-and-1, and another rebound for Ethan Jew. If they get him going scoring-wise, he'll have a double-double for sure. He's already almost got the rebounds locked up. Broderick on the wing, over to Reich. Reich 3, no good. Rebound Mackey. Mackey, a stellar tight end on the football field. Bracha 3 off the Ryan Wong assist, and the Gators needed that lift. 29-23. Long stretch pass. Broderick 3, won't go. Rebound York. Gators getting going in transition as they like to do. Mackey crashes through the lane. A lot of contact, no whistle, and no bucket to show for it. Quantico back out to Toledo Rivera. Toledo Rivera goes to the baseline, gets around 2 defenders and scores. For this quarter for GC Toledo Rivera as the Wildcats lead at 31-23. Bracha gets a nice fierce screen from Mackey. Goes to the rack. Can't get the bucket, but does draw the foul. That'll be 8th team foul against the Wildcats. And that one will be on Ethan Jew. That'll be his first. With both teams done an awfully nice job staying out of fouls in this second quarter. SI picked up 5 in the first quarter, managed to not get exploited so far in the second. Gators just now getting into the bonus and getting the rack. Bucher will come back in. He will replace Ryan Wong. So the Gators effectively have gone 5 deep off the bench so far for a 10-man rotation and all. Second free throw good. Stevens checking back in for Mackey. Stevens just a sophomore, so get used to seeing him. He's just getting started here, whereas Mackey is in his senior year. Stevens and LJ Quattlebaum, the only sophomores on the roster, though Quattlebaum does not appear to be in uniform tonight. Toledo Rivera has room on the wing, sees the defender charging, gets it back out to Reich with Conroy. Conroy out here at the volleyball lines. Quarter, Toledo Rivera 3. A little too strong, no good. Rebound, Ethan Jew, and he draws the foul. That is the 10th rebound already for Ethan Jew, who has just been a menace on the board so far. And they're going to call this foul on the floor on Stevens. 48.4 left in the first half. Wildcats inbound quickly. Toledo Rivera sees Stevens there, thinks better of going inside, ends up getting it back in the corner. Defended by Bucher. Ball deflected, ends up with Conroy. Conroy, one-handed pass. Toledo Rivera makes the extra pass. Quantico, 3, good. 9-point lead for SI. Great ball movement that time along the perimeter with Toledo Rivera dishing off to Quantico. Boy, Quantico has integrated himself seamlessly despite being pretty new to this program compared to some of the other guys. Gators can hold for the final shot of the first half. Trailing by 9, tied for the largest deficit they've faced. York lost it for a moment. They've still got 9 seconds, though. No need to panic. More than enough time to run a play. Stevens on the corner. 4 on the clock. York's just going to pull up for 3. That's no good. Bucher inside. Stevens tips it out. Bracha with one last heave, but it wouldn't have counted anyway. And that will end the first half with St. Ignatius coming out strong and holding steady. They lead at 35-24 at the break. We'll take a quick moment here to total up first half stats, get those to you. A few highlights as well before we get going with the second half. Nice quick 10-minute break here. Under normal circumstances would be time to go grab a hot dog or something, but no concession stands under current protocols, so enjoy the break. And for some reason the clock only shows 7 minutes. Maybe they're going to take a quicker halftime than usual? Either way, break time it is. We'll stick with you. We're going to total up some stats and get back to you as quickly as possible here. We appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Once again, your halftime score, St. Ignatius 34, Sacred Heart Prep 25. Welcome back to the McGanny Sports Center as we get ready for the second half between St. Ignatius and Sacred Heart Prep. Wildcats have led the entire way, and they hold a 34-25 lead at the break. About a minute and a half left in halftime, which gives us just enough time to run down some stats for you. Recap first half scoring. Sean Quantico with 12 to lead SI. The Wildcats also have 8 from GC's Toledo Rivera, 4 from Felix Tomaning, 3 apiece from Alex Reich and Quinn Broderick, 2 from Adrian Dolina, and 2 from Ethan Zhu, who also has a game-high 11 rebounds. Aiden Bracha has matched Quantico with 12 points for the Gators. They've also got 9 from Harrison Carrington, but just 2 in the second quarter. And then Sachit Sinha and RJ Stevens with 2 apiece to round out the scoring. And against a tough defense like SI, against really any WCAL defense, and the Gators will be seeing more of those moving forward as they play the Wildcats a second time. They've also got Bellarmine coming up. You're going to need to rely on secondary scoring because these teams have some top defenders that can lock down your top scoring weapons, in this case, Bracha and Carrington. And those two have still combined for 21, which is rather impressive, especially when you consider just how tight the defense has been, especially provided by Sean Quantico. Quantico, one of 3 SI players with 2 fouls, 3 on him, 2 fouls, 2 on Quantico, 2 on Ryan Conroy, 2 on Felix Tomaning. Foul trouble, not anything of concern for the Gators, who have just 4 players with a single foul on them. They only committed 4 fouls in the first half. And as for the timeout situation, each team has used 1 so far, so both teams with 4 timeouts remaining. As we get set to begin the third quarter with SI on top, 34-25. And it'll be SI Valdo open in the third quarter. Ryan Conroy back on the floor, saw limited minutes in the second quarter after picking up that second foul, but wasn't completely held off the court. Like to see that. Not a fan of coaches who, the moment someone gets 2 fouls, they feel obliged to sit him down for the entire first half. Toledo Rivera gets it back from Reich. Both teams have the original starting 5 on the floor, at least for the moment here. Drew with Conroy. Conroy with a little head fake to try to get around Cena. Gets to the rack and scores. Get a quiet first half scoring-wise. Gets one here. Largest lead in the night for SI at 36-25. Carrington around the handoff from Stevens. Carrington to the rack. Can't get it to go, and he is not happy after missing that one. That's a shot he makes at least 95 times out of 100, if not more. Into the corner, 3 on the way, well short. Not quite an air ball as it tickled the netting, or the flange as the official rule book will call it. Stevens with the rebound. Bracha back the other way. Bracha trying to maybe get a high screen from Stevens as he heads back out towards center court. Does get the high screen he wants. Ends up having a lob a pass to Carrington. Open Teddy Purcell, now getting defended by Reich. Purcell spin move. Can't get it to fall. Just been rough shooting lately for the Gators. And a rebound to Quantico. Quantico, Toledo Rivera. Toledo Rivera, one of the more experienced juniors on the floor right now. Good ball movement. Ethan Zhu's going to try a rare 3, and that one's short. 11 rebounds so far for the big man with just 2 points. He defends Bracha here and will get called for the foul. Bracha will head to the line. Gators have done well for themselves on free throws thus far. It's been shooting from the floor that's been difficult for them. As a team, they are 6 of 7 at the line. They did miss the front end of a 1-and-1 late in the first half. That's Ethan Zhu's second foul. 6:29 left in the third quarter. And Bracha, who is perfect at the line so far, remains perfect as he knocks out on the first free throw and reduces the deficit once again to 10. So 5 for 5 at the line now for Bracha. Usually a very reliable free throw shooter. Was shocked when he actually missed a couple last week after a technical in that win over Kings Academy. He makes both here. It's 36-27 with Cena defending Conroy. Sachit Cena in his first year on varsity, I really like what he's shown defensively. Really shown himself to be able to guard 1 through 5 on the floor. Toledo Rivera in the lane off the pass from Zhu. The big man can dish it out, and that restores an 11-point lead for St. Ignatius. Carrington brings it back through. He's got a length advantage, but just hasn't been able to get shots to fall yet. Tries a 3 here, and he might have forced that one as it comes up well short. Ends up out of bounds, and it'll be SI ball. Wildcats with an 11-point lead and possession with 5:56 left in this third quarter.
Quantico into the lane. Tries to get around Cena. Well defended, but Quantico able to get his own rebound. Telling you, the kid can jump. Conroy back out. Toledo Rivera has time. Sets 3. No good. Rebound, Ethan Ju. Can't get it to fall, but does draw the foul after picking up his 12th board of the night. And the foul will be on Sachet Sinha. That'll be his second. He's the first Gator to get called for multiple fouls tonight. First free throw by Ju on the way, and it's good. Bucher comes back in for Cena now. Fouls will not be forcing Tony Martinelli's hand when he makes his substitutions here. It's all going to be about just who's the best player we can get on the floor right now, who's the most rested. Second free throw, no good. Rebound, Stevens. Stevens getting shown the ropes, facing a center with a distinct size advantage over him for the first time. Sure, he faced some decent-sized bodies in the game against Pinewood the other night, but not quite the same difficulty as a guy quite as big as Ethan Ju. Bracha around Conroy. To the rack. Nice left-hand finish to cut the lead back to 10. Aiden Bracha's had a lot of contested looks tonight. He's had to work hard for those points. Toledo Rivera tries to get into the key, and they're going to get Bucher for the reach, I believe. It is indeed Bucher on the foul. And that's his first. 5:11 left in the third quarter. Neither team anywhere near the bonus thus far. Quantico sends it way out to Reich. Reich, despite being listed at just 5'8", has really long arms and legs, similar to his brother, who was standing at about 6'8" by the end of his high school career. That brother, Troy, later walked on at Wake Forest. Conroy into the lane. One-hand pass to the corner. 3 on the way. Good for Quantico. Largest lead of the night for SI. 42-29. Well, you see just how quickly Quantico has fit into this system. Has had a lot of time to practice in small cohorts and such, but being able to play as a full team has been difficult for any team to come by. When you've got a transfer like him, it's even tougher to get him settled in. But he's fit rather seamlessly. Carrington can't get it to go. He has just had horrible luck tonight. Stevens gets the offensive rebound and scores, and we're going to get a quick timeout here by the Gators. They cut it to 42-31 off the bucket by Stevens. Now with 4:24 left in the third, they will take their second timeout of the game. So they'll still have 3 to go. Remember, teams get 5 timeouts in high school ball. The only time you'll see teams with just 4 is if a game is televised on a network that includes full commercial breaks and such, and we're happy to bring you the feedback, and we're happy to not interfere with the flow of the game with commercial breaks. Let the kids play, let the game flow. But in things like state championships, or sometimes when St. Ignatius faces Sacred Heart in the Bruce Mahoney game, you will see teams with just 4 timeouts like they have in college because of the TV timeouts. One other thing the high school game does not have that the college game has is a rule that one of those timeouts has to be used in the first half or else you'll lose it. Kind of the use it or lose it rule, as it's colloquially known. Quantico up ahead to Ju. Conroy over to the corner. Toledo Rivera's open again. He splashes it. You can't leave Toledo Rivera open. 45-31 St. Ignatius, and Toledo Rivera with 5 in this third quarter. Carrington trying to drive on Conroy. Physical defense, but clean defense. Bucher out high now. Bucher trying to get around Reich. High off the glass, no good. Rebound number 13 for Ethan Ju. Stretch pass for Reich. Reich. Toledo Rivera, now Quantico. About 30 feet from the basket. Gets backed up by Carrington to near midcourt. This is a smaller court than the full-length 94 that SI has at home, but it doesn't seem to bother them. Ju's going to try a 3 again. He is 0 for 2 on those now. Ball tipped out and waiting for the signal. Tough to see from down there, and it looks like it will be Gators ball, despite the pleas of the Wildcats. A little under 3.5 left in the third quarter now here at the McGanny Sports Center on SHP's campus. One of the finest campuses around, and I've been to my share of them. Carrington to the rack, just can't get anything to fall tonight. Just rotten luck there. York gets the rebound. Bracha tries three. That's no good. Whistle for a foul on the rebound. See who this one goes to. And it looks like that'll be Conroy's third. Just the second team foul against the Wildcats in the second half, so they've played a much cleaner game foul-wise than they did in the first. Conroy will sub out here for Tomanang. Quick breather with 3:08 left in the third. Carrington looking for someone to give it off to, ends up back with Bracha. Bracha trying to get around Quantico, who's really giving him fits tonight. That's a good look, but it just won't fall. The home rims have not been so friendly tonight to the Gators. Quantico back the other way, into the lane, corner, three, no good. Rebound Bracha. That was Wright giving us a look from the corner, couldn't get it to go. And we've got a foul, that's going to be Tomanang, I believe. It's going to be his third, and I believe they'll call that on the floor, or no? Are they going to send Bracha to the line here? Wow, all right, Bracha's going to the line for two, as Tomanang has picked up his third foul. Be a lot of subs here. Mackey, Carney, and Sinha all back in to replace Carrington, York, and Stevens. And now, okay, they have corrected this. The foul is indeed on the floor. Gators lined up for a moment as if it was going up on the shot, but that is the proper call, foul on the floor. Sinha over to Carney. Carney in the corner. Try to inject some life in his team off the bench, but it won't fall. Right, the rebound. We don't have the full shooting numbers for the Gators. We can assure you that they are not pretty right now. They're getting some of the looks they want. They just aren't able to convert them. And you got to find ways to make up for that on nights where your shots aren't going. Ethan Jew down low. Quantico. Or rather, Toledo Rivera, my apologies. Another assist for the big man. And a 16-point SI lead. Wildcats leading this third quarter 13-6. And now we get an offensive foul. And I believe that'll be on Mackey. Trying to read the official signal from up here. We're on the other side of the court, away from the scorer's table and the benches, so at times your guess is as good as mine, but if that is on Mackey, that would be his second, and Gators don't have to worry about individual foul trouble at all. Each team with 3 fouls here. 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Ethan Jew comes off Ramon, meaning SI is going to play a bit of a smaller lineup. They do have Carson Mills out there to be the biggest man on the floor, but it would be hard to call him a big. But they can play 5 out, dish it around the wing. Reich stops up about 15 feet from the basket, gives it to Tomanang. Tomanang gets around Mackey and scores. Nice move by Tomanang, who's establishing himself early on this season as a really strong option off the bench. Gators stretch it out in transition, but can't get it to go. They will get the rebound, though. 1:36 left in the third quarter with things quickly getting out of hand for SHP here. A bit surprising, considering the strong start to the season for the Gators. Blocked by Mills, rebound to Lena. SI can push. Wildcat reserves doing very well, and one of those reserves, Tomanang, gets the bucket. 51-31. As the ball goes out of bounds there, the Gators will keep possession, but that bucket by Tomanang stretching the lead to 20. And SI has established themselves as a good third quarter team so far this year. Against Half Moon Bay, I believe it was a 25-4 third quarter to break that game open. Rochester's going to pull up from deep. Going to have to start getting shots to go to get back into this game. And he gets one here with the 24-footer. 51-34, just over a minute left in the third quarter. Bracha trying to overplay a little, defend this one aggressively. You need turnovers, you need quick buckets if you're trying to get back in it from down 17. Tomanang on Sinha. Tomanang out high. On the wing, Carson Mills 3. That's way off. Rebound Carney. And we've got a whistle, and it's going to be a carry on Carney. Something we haven't seen too many of called this year. It was a point of emphasis for the refs a couple years ago, but they have not been hammering that one home this year. Let's get another look at the 3 from Bracha. Once in a while, when you're a high-scoring point guard, your team struggled to get buckets, you got to just pull up and take a couple. Broderick out high. Now Quantico into the lane. Tries a little scoop move, tries a little hook, can't get it to go. Rebound Bracha. Bracha with a behind-the-back dribble as he brings it through. Been tough sledding for the Gators in this third quarter as the deficit has widened to as much as 20. They currently trail by 17. Shot won't go. Carson Mills has it, and SI can hold for that last shot of the quarter if they want. For a moment, Delano looked like he wanted to bring it in, but now they will take it out. Tomaning will handle it out high with 20 seconds on the clock, and SI, assuming they don't completely botch this, will go into the fourth quarter at minimum leading by 17. Quantico out near the half-court line. 7 seconds to work with still. Plenty of time. Into the corner, Delana defended well by Wong. Back out, Quantico 3. No good, back iron. And that'll do it for the third quarter, but what a third quarter it was for the St. Ignatius Wildcats. One to forget if you're a Gator fan, as SI outscores the Gators 17-9 in the third, widening the lead to 51-34 with 8 minutes left to play.
I'm going to stay here.
Prep where the host Gators find themselves in a hole despite St. Ignatius missing 3 regulars, including a couple of starters. Wildcats leading this one 51-34, looking to get revenge on the side where they lost last season. You're so conditioned to say last year, but it was more than a year ago. It was in December of 2019 when they came in here and lost by about 5. And they find themselves trailing as the Wildcats find themselves leading as they enter the fourth. Gators trailing with the ball. Harrison Carrington out high with Tomaning on him. Bracha getting a quick breather to start the fourth. That'll let Carrington get free. He'll take a jumper from the elbow and hit it. And if he catches fire, watch out. That 15-point deficit could vanish in just a moment. Tomaning brings it back through. Curious to see if SI tries to slow the game down a little bit, or when you kind of enter into that end game form. Might be a little early to try that right now, as Mills handles it. Every coach has their own approach to it, though, and I'm curious to see what Jason Greenfield's approach is. Quantico out high, defended by Purcell. Quantico into the lane. Had a brief double team, ends up dishing it off into the corner. 3 on his way, no good. Cena rebound with a lot of contact, no foul. York will bring it back through. Gators with 4 starters on the floor right now, plus York in place of Bracha. York from the elbow, no good. Again, secondary scoring has been hard to come by tonight for SHP. We've got a tie-up and a jump ball, and that will be possession to the Wildcats, despite Teddy Purcell's best efforts there. 6:58 to go, and Ethan Jew subs back in. Been racking up the rebounds like it's nothing tonight. Last year, big center Charlie Selna gave the Wildcats a lot of trouble, but after he graduated, tough hole to fill, despite some admirable efforts thus far by R.J. Stevens and Will Mackey. And Stevens has plenty of time to grow into that role. Only a sophomore now. See plenty of him moving forward. He's just a sophomore. Bracha and Cena just juniors. Carney a junior. Get used to seeing some of these names for the Gators. They're going to be a major fixture for a while. Team that made the CCS Open Division last year. Still awaiting if we're going to have a postseason this year. As of now, the plan is yes. Toledo Rivera rebounds his own miss. Can't get the shot to go, but ends up drawing a foul. And that's going to be Stevens with the foul. Should be his second. 4th team foul against the Gators. Both teams on their way to the bonus, but not quite there yet. Toledo Rivera's first free throw is good. Conroy checking back in for Tomaning. Tomaning's done a nice job filling in as Conroy's battled some foul trouble tonight. Done exactly what you'd want out of a backup point guard, as both free throws are good. You know, steady the ship, just keep the offense moving, don't do too much. He's done a very nice job of that. Carrington with Purcell, as Bracha still on the bench for a couple more moments here. And we're going to get a foul underneath on Toledo Rivera, who was tangled up a bit with Stevens. Toledo Rivera surprised at the call. That's just his second foul. Both teams with 4 now. Quickly inside, R.J. Stevens puts it home. Nice job off the inbound feed. 53-38. Gators back to within 15, but SI able to bleed some time off the clock. A little over 6 minutes left. Ethan Jew has normally been in a distributing role from out high. He tries to get inside, and he draws a foul on Stevens, who thought he had all ball that time. Stevens strongly objects to the call, but that'll be his third foul. And that'll send Ethan Jew back to the line. First shot is good as Wright coming back in for St. Ignatius. He's going to replace Delana. Both teams with a couple of their highest scorers still on the bench for the moment in Quantico and Bracha. Second free throw good as well, 55-38. Just over 6 minutes left. One interesting thing to follow moving forward is where the shot clock will be when the Gators take their shots. They're going to have to move quickly. Cena from the middle of the lane, no good, but he fights for the offensive rebound. They had it for a moment. Purcell cannot secure it. Stretch pass by Reich ends up going out of bounds. And Bracho will come back in with 5:50 left. So I think the plan was just to give him those first 2 minutes off. He's going to come in for Sachit Cena as we see a smaller lineup. Looking to inbound it is Reich, gets it to Toledo Rivera. Toledo Rivera around the screen from Ethan Jew. You do not want to meet his screens. A couple of players from Midi learned that the hard way last year. Corner three for Reich, in and out. Gap stays at 17 for the moment. Carrington draws a foul, and that'll be 4 on Conroy, who can't believe it. Each team with 5 fouls, but again, Conroy now the deepest into individual foul trouble as he's been marked for 4. And we're going to get a timeout here from a frustrated-looking Tony Martinelli with 5:33 to go. SHP still trailing 55-38. .533 to go, and SHP with some work to do, trailing St. Ignatius 55-38. Dealing with some tight defense, dealing with some unfriendly rims tonight in a building where normally you can expect the Gators to put up 60, 70 points with ease. They just have not had an easy time tonight. Some of that's just luck. Some of that's a credit to the St. Ignatius defense. Defense that hounds R.J. Stevens as he gets into the lane and scores. Nice work by the sophomore. Only listed at 6'2", but he plays a lot bigger than that. Excited to see how he evolves over the next couple years. Cuts the deficit to 15. Conroy with Jew out high. Ethan Jew trying to call things out. He's really showing off the ability as a distributor and one of the leaders in this offense. Kind of almost a point forward. Even if he's not the one bringing the ball up court because he's setting such high screens. Right shot well short. There's Jew with the rebound. Can't get it to go. Conroy the tip won't go. Another offensive rebound. That one to Reich. And when you're trailing, that is not the sort of sequence you can afford. Offensive rebounds to give him a fresh 35 can really bleed off some time. Or just work it inside to an open Reich. He can't get the shot to fall. Stevens with the recovery. Bracha trying to get separation from Toledo Rivera. Into the lane. Contact, and we get the whistle. We get the charge. Charge drawn by Quinn Broderick on Bracha. Thought at first there was going to be no call there. It was a bit of a late whistle. But they end up giving the Wildcats the benefit of the doubt there. Bracha dinged with the foul. It's only his first, so that's no issue, but it is 6 fouls against the Gators. So they won't have to worry about getting SI into the bonus the rest of the way. Toledo Rivera gets it back from Jew. Spin move, tries to get to the rack, no good. Toledo Rivera gets his own miss, puts it up. York had the block, but they call him for the foul. Last couple calls drawing a bit of frustration for the Gators, both the charge against Bracha and now York getting dinged with this one. 4:13 on the clock. Toledo Rivera to the line. We'll have it all totaled up for you later, but he is pushing 20 points on the night. Don't have the exact running tally for you, unfortunately. We do not have a live stat feed like you get at a college gym, but we do have an awfully nice setup here, and our thanks to Sacred Heart Prep for providing that. Both free throws good. Carrington to the rack and one. 4:06 on the clock to cut the deficit back to 15, and that foul goes to Wright. That'll be the 6th team foul against the Wildcats, so every foul the rest of the way, save for offensive fouls, will result in free throws. As Harrison Carrington gets to the line. First foul on Reich in the entire game, and he's played at least about half of the minutes out there. Free throw no good. Rebound Ethan Jew. Quantico will handle it. Really start to see if the Wildcats want to bleed the clock now, or if they're just going to go straight to the rack. Quantico into the corner. Wright gets it back to Jew. Jew trying to drive on Stevens. Power move. Gets it out to Conroy. Down to 15 on the shot clock. Conroy out to Quantico. Now he puts up the three. No good. Ethan Jew, another offensive board. Put back, no good. Quantico crashing through. And there's that jumping ability we warned you about. That's a gut punch. 59-42, and that may all but wrap this one up. 3.5 minutes left. Gators are going to have to shoot lights out the rest of the way. Carrington tries to get it free to York. Managed to at the last moment to avoid the travel. 3:20 now on the game clock. Gators have really got to start upping the tempo, and with limited practices so far this year, it's tough for teams to get these late game situations mastered. Bradshaw with a long two. That's no good. Ball goes out of bounds. It'll be SI ball. 3:06 on the clock, and we're going to get a few subs here. Purcell, Carney, and Sinha back in as York, Bucher, and Stevens check out. Jason Greenfield, the first-year SI head coach, calling for his team to go 5 out. Conroy with a lot of dribbling, trying to get around Carney. Is in the corner. Baseline drive, Ethan Jew, bucket. 61-42. It has been the Ethan Jew show tonight. Even if it hasn't been his night scoring-wise, it's been his rebounding, it's been his ability to distribute and lead this offense, set high screens, and everything's flowing well through him. I believe that foul is on Quantico, which would be his third. We brought you to the line for repair. Conroy picked up his 4th foul this quarter, but for all the SI players that had 2 fouls early, none of the others have gotten into any significant trouble. Surprising discipline, again, with limited practice time. Figuring out how to play when in foul trouble is usually something that kind of comes later. Kind of an acquired taste, but it seems like they're ready for it. Bradshaw misses the first, makes the second. It's 61-43. Conroy dealing with something of a press. Gets doubled, and Greenfield is going to call a timeout from the bench. 2:31 to go. Wildcats will have a chance to resettle and figure things out. Although they seem to have mistakenly reset the shot clock. They may need to take off about 10 seconds off that. Can't blame the home clock operators for trying to help their side here, as this was going to the visitors' benefit. SI. See their huddle right now with assistant Jamal Baugh standing towards the perimeter of it. Jason Greenfield in there drawing things up. Assistant coach Johnny Merlick as well. Baugh, the one holdover from the last half, he's been there as long as I can remember. He's basically been an SI staple at this point, and they did just get the shot clock right. They put it down to 25. Good work by the table crew there. They've been pretty spotless tonight. A lot of times you'll see some less than perfect work by the clock operators, by the table crew. They've got everything right tonight. They've had fouls right. They've had the score correct. They've done a nice job. And a lot of times it can kind of be amateur hour over there, so it's nice to see such a well-polished crew, especially early in the season. Where, again, we're all rusty. Broadcasting's rusty. Players are rusty. Officials are rusty. Toledo Rivera into the lane, and Purcell is going to force the jump ball and get the turnover. And for SI to go to the rack so quickly was surprising, considering that they could run some time off the clock. Although at this point, if you don't expect the Gators to try to work their way back into this, considering the size of the gap, you could just kind of test out some plays you want to run. Bradshaw tried to put it up, couldn't get it to go, and it goes out off of Purcell. Wildcats ball, 2:16 to go, and SI in prime position to avoid letting this one loss to Redwood turn into a prolonged streak. Would also hand the Gators their first defeat of the year. Toledo Rivera gets it back out. Conroy dribbles it in, gets it to Reich. Reich over to the corner. Toledo Rivera's three won't fall. Cena the rebound. Gators try to push. Carrington three. Knocks it down. Fourth quarter's been a bit better for Harrison Carrington, who's now up to 7 points in the period, and another timeout here by SHP as they've cut it to 61-46 with 1:53 to go. But after this, the Gators will have just one timeout remaining to see the three by Carrington again. The 6'6 senior entered halftime with 9 points to his name. Didn't score any in the third, but now he's up to 16 for the game with 7 this quarter. Depending on your approach, good news for the Gators is you get back out there in under 48 hours. 5:30 tip-off Thursday night at rival Menlo. Bad news is you've got to bounce back quickly, but the best thing for them is they'll have faced a tight defense like the one they're going to face Thursday. Even if the schemes aren't the same, even if the personnel's a bit different, just getting a feel for a team that defends as tightly as Menlo will certainly give the Gators some experience that they'll be able to benefit from. A little bit of a press for Carrington, but the Wildcats get it free with a couple of long passes. Quantico out high to Reich, managing a 15-point lead with under 2 minutes left. Reich over to Toledo Rivera. Wildcats able to slow the pace here as they like to in this situation. Normally an up-tempo team, but when you're in a late-game spot protecting the lead, got to work the clock. They do nicely. They get it inside. Toledo Rivera in traffic scores. Took the pass from Quantico and finished. Boy, Toledo Rivera and Quantico have shown nice chemistry tonight. Bracha to the lane, no good. Toledo Rivera the block. Bracha does end up getting his own rebound. Three on the way from Carrington is good, and the Gators will use their final timeout after they've cut it to 14 with just 69 seconds left in the game. That last three coming off the quick little pass from Teddy Purcell. So down 14, out of timeouts, a minute 9 on the clock. Gators are going to need to work some magic here if they want to get back into this thing. Going to need a couple of turnovers, going to need a couple of quick shots. Going to need to try to... Hey, they're wearing the right colors to do it, to channel their inner Texas A&M Aggies, try to channel the Aggies' crazy comeback a few years ago against Northern Iowa in the NCAA tournament. Reich being hounded by a double team, and that got tipped, so they do not call the backcourt. Much to the ire of SHP, though, they're not loudly objecting. Could have had a backcourt on Bracha there, who then ends up losing it, trying to go behind his back. And that sequence will strongly favor the Wildcats. The end result, they get the ball back, they have a fresh shot clock, and they burn 22 seconds off. I think you can all but write this one down in Sharpie. To quote, I believe it's Jeff, I can't remember the name of the NCAA. Seth Davis. Seth Davis is the one who likes to always say Sharpie. He famously said Virginia, Sharpie, at the very start of Virginia's game against UMBC a couple years ago, and we all know how that turned out. Bracha gives the foul here with 27.1 left. That will send Quantico to the line. But the Wildcats are in prime position to avenge last year's defeat. Free throw is no good from Quantico. One of the few plays where he has not been in top form all night. He's been excellent. Stolen by Reich. Wildcats could just run this out. Nice hustle by Cena to try to tip the pass. It ends up out of bounds off of Cena. Wildcats will keep it for the moment. Gators are going to get a quick sub, bring Bucher back in with just 15.9 on the clock. Probably the end of the night for Aiden Bracha, as the Gators are going to suffer their first loss of the year, fall to 3-1. But again, chance to bounce back Thursday when they host the Menlo Knights. Long inbound, Carney nearly stole it. Gets it free. Carrington, he's going to go up and dunk and get out some frustrations with a two-handed rip. 63-51, and that should be your final score, although we're going to have looks like we're going to have a foul here with 4.3 left. Never say die attitude would be the positive spin on it. Negative spin would be, come on, we just want to get out of here. All depends on your perspective, though, and it has been a relatively quick game. It's not like we've been dragging our heels here. 4.3 on the clock. Quantico with a chance to add to his total. Another 1-1. It'll be the last 1-1 as the Gators are up to 9 fouls, and he does make the first. Second on the way. Good. 65-51. One last chance for Carrington to add to his totals. He's going to go to the rack. Shot will not go, and that'll do it. Final score, St. Ignatius 65, Sacred Heart Prep 51 as the Wildcats snap their brief one-game losing streak, hand the Gators their first defeat on the season, and coming back to the side of a loss they suffered in the prior season and managed to right some wrongs as they played a really solid defensive game. A benchmark for a lot of teams is 50 points. They allowed just 51 tonight, just a hair over that, and to do that against a team that plays at the pace SHP does, not bad at all. Well, that'll be a wrap from us here at the McGanny Sports Center. Once again, your final, St. Ignatius 65, Sacred Heart Prep 51. Gators fans, their team will be back in action Thursday, 5:30 p.m. at Menlo for a big West Bay League clash. SI returns to the court Saturday, 1 p.m. when the Wildcats host Marin Catholic. It'll be Cats versus Cats. A long-standing tradition of those two programs to face off, and considering the number of Marin players that make their way down to SI, a lot of kids make that commute across the Golden Gate Bridge. Should be a lot of familiarity, good friendly rivalry there. Rivalries will be the theme for both these teams. Once again, Gators have a chance to bounce back Thursday when they take on Menlo. We hope you tune in. Thanks for joining us throughout this season, not just tonight, but all year long. We'll see you around. Once again, your final score tonight, St. Ignatius 65, Sacred Heart Prep 51.